Welcome to another episode of the Scaling Therapy Practice. This is the show where we empower mission driven helpers to launch life changing online courses and content. Today's episode's particularly special to me because I get to interview my talented wife, Lorinda. We were driving home from a weekend event and I pulled out the microphone, and as we drove, we talked about online courses, and the topic came up of discussing why many people hesitate to launch their online course and how to overcome those barriers. A little bit about Lorinda. She's the director of team experience at a virtual assistant company, and she shares her insights and how she trains her new hires and some of her approach to meet high standards. And we will explore her journey and the challenges she's faced, providing valuable lessons for anyone looking to start their own course. Essentially, we ask, why, Lorinda, why haven't you started your own course yet? And she goes over some of her thoughts and feelings. We'll cover the topics of the importance of self-belief and overcoming imposter syndrome, how to navigate the technical aspects of course creation, some practical tips on organizing and presenting effectively, and strategies for standing out in a crowded market. You'll hear some of Lorinda's thoughts in real time as we talk about why she's a talented trainer of people for virtual assistants, why she hasn't been maybe developing a course on the side. I mentioned this last time, but the name of the show, the Scaling Therapy Practice, is going to be changing. I've done a little bit of research. The name of the show I thought I wanted was Mission in Motion. But Mission in Motion has already been taken by another podcast. It's been defunct for 4 years, or it hasn't been updated in 4 years. But the advice I'm getting from people is don't use the name of a podcast that's already been taken. So I'm going to look for maybe a way to incorporate Mission in Motion, maybe Dream to Done or Getting Your Dreams Done. So look for a podcast name change shortly. Hey, if you want further support for your course creation content, please check out the Facebook page. It's called Course Creation Studio. It's at Helper on Mission, and it's got the lighthouse logo if you want to see it. I've been posting more and more resources there. I just recently posted a link to a GPT that's an AI something. I don't exactly know what it stands for, but it is, I made it and I based it off um, Donald Miller's story brand for helping you build landing pages. So it will ask you a couple questions. You click, ask me, there's a button that says, ask me several 3 to 5 questions about building a landing page. Then it'll ask you some follow-up questions. Then it will spit out what you answer in formatted with a headline and some benefits and call to action. So you can use that data. What I normally do is I just record into it with Windows. It's the Windows key H, and it opens up a voice recorder, and I just record my thoughts to the questions and let the AI organize my thoughts with my own words. So take a look at that. You can also rate it or give me some feedback on it so I can improve that tool for you to use. And that's free on the Facebook page. Additionally, I'm going through the Kajabi challenge. It's the 2-week create a mini course in 2 weeks. So I'm creating a mini course on transforming your mindset, overcoming self-doubt to realize your dreams, on creating courses. As I discovered with Lorinda, as we were talking, many people don't see themselves as a teacher. Many people don't see themselves as an educator. Even though they have some amazing skills to offer, they don't, their mindset is not that they're not big enough, they're not good enough, they're not famous enough. So I thought maybe I'd start a mini course there. So take a look at that. You can sign up for the wait list to get onto the wait list, and the people who sign up early get the pilot course price. So visit the Facebook page to get the landing page, AI questionnaire, and the Course Creation Studio mini course. So let's dive into our conversation with Lorinda. We are driving, so you might hear some extra car noise, and we may or may not have avoided a fender bender about 8 minutes into the video. We are live and nobody got hurt. So take a listen and make sure you put your mission in motion.
I like the little mic.
Yeah, they're in.
They're very in. Like those big, it reminds me of those big mics, you know, that you have,
What?
well, like in the center, like, you know, when they used to have those big lights that they were paying, like hold on to?
I guess.
That's what it reminds me of.
Well, we have them. We can't, these mics, you can't turn your head too much. Like,
Okay.
you have to, like,
That's got to be like a robot.
no, you don't have to be a robot. You just can't turn your head. It doesn't always pick up. Like, I've noticed when I turn my head, it doesn't always pick up. So if I'm like gesturing or moving,
It kind of goes off
it
and
goes,
trails.
goes in and out. I can't get out this way.
It's
then
deceiving.
it's into a car accident.
It hit once. It says, "Hey James, come this way." Oh nope, sorry, just kidding.
Driving home.
Yes, we are driving. I thought they were gonna hit
Oh,
that car,
gonna hit that.
but I think they're far enough back that they're not going to. See, they had far enough. They had enough room. It was just perception, you know,
Mhm.
depth perception.
So
Yeah.
we were talking the other day. You were saying how you enjoy making content for your job, like you do a lot of training. I know, like, I'd introduce you. Hello, Lorinda.
Hello, James.
I'm my wife is my guest tonight on the show. She is a manager at a virtual assistant company. I think her official title is like director of personal development.
Team experience.
Team and you train all the new hires, right?
Yes, I
And then you
interview and
also-
train them all.
And then you meet with them on a regular basis to ensure that they are getting everything down and do meeting standards and addressing problems before they become problems, and probably a whole bunch of other stuff. But that's Mary task.
Yes, that would be my
And
primary.
so you're
task.
redoing your training, and you've been working on it for a while. And the other day you said, "Oh, I like doing this. I like recording myself, and I like using Canva and making slides and stuff." Started thinking, well, why haven't we made an online course that to share your knowledge with a greater audience? So we're gonna talk about that today, and just why hasn't Lorinda Marland made a online course yet?
Is that a question?
I don't know. So why haven't you made? Yes,
Just
it's a question.
I wasn't sure if you're just making a statement.
Why haven't you made, for the greater audience? There's many people who have specialties, and why haven't you made an online course? But for the you today is Lorinda. Lorinda, why haven't why haven't you made an online course?
Well, I just never really thought about it. I don't think of myself as like a big grand teacher or that, like who would want to listen to me. I'm like, I mean, not that I'm a nobody, but just, I don't know. I just never really thought about it.
You're not famous,
Yeah, I'm not famous.
not infamous.
Infamous? Do I want to be infamous?
No, you're not famous. You don't have a following. You're not internet famous, or you don't have a viral social media thing. And so your starting point? Well, there's two starting points. One is like, I never really thought about it, and the second one is, if I did think about it, who would even listen to my content?
Yeah, well, like, or what content would I create? I never thought that was like a big skill set of mine. Like you have a very creative skill set, and my skill set is a little different. I'm more introspective. Well, God, okay. Sorry, we're driving.
We're alive.
Yes, we're live. We're stopped. Okay. So yeah, like I never really thought about, never really thought about it.
So I guess the first barrier is you don't think of yourself as like an educator, teacher for the greater audience, even though education and training and developing skills is part of what you do.
Exactly. Yes, I would agree with that statement. Wholeheartedly.
Makes me think how many other people out there have a message or a mission that they could share and they're good at what they do, but they don't even think of themselves as someone who can do that either for, serving the greater good as a volunteer type thing or earn a little bit of extra money or even as a career, a career change. You don't probably there's so many good ideas out there that could help a lot of people, but they really don't think about it. Like it's not even part of their personality. I think what happened for me one time is I was at the mental health hospital and I was in another training on something I'd been at training for, how the hospital system works where you do the same training
Yes.
over and over
Like you
and
feel like a broken
over
record
again.
sometimes.
Every year you
Mhm.
do the same, like suicide prevention and HIPAA and customer care and customer complaints. Anyways, you did it over and over again. And I was in my 15th or 16th year of it. And I'm like, I might not be as polished as this person, but I certainly know as much or more than the person presenting. And that made me think, it just started this thought chain. I don't know that maybe that's something I could do in the future is do some educational courses or teach people on certain things that I'm passionate about. But it took that thought, like, they're not any better than me. They're just more polished than me. They've had more practice. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that's true. I always feel like I'm never polished enough. It like takes me 10 recordings just to get one sentence down. I actually had to use Chat GPT just to like create a script so that I could, not sound like an idiot and use all the
Yeah.
time. And I
Like,
think that's some of it. Like I'm afraid, I'll look stupid or not that I'll look stupid, but that yeah, I won't look professional enough. I won't be thought of as an expert or they'll think of me as an expert and I won't have the answers for them. Like that whole thought process too. So yeah, I'm right there with you.
that's another barrier is like what you think people will think of you or the perception that you're not an expert. Like you are clearly an expert at what you do. Here's the reality. You've been doing what you've been doing for like 20 years. I don't know.
Close to it.
You,
Oh,
you,
yeah, probably. Yeah, close to
I
it.
worked at a central scheduling place at the same hospital I worked at, just a different department. And they trained you for a month on scheduling before you even
Did it on my
were
own.
allowed to do it.
Yeah, but before that, I had like a month of, or at least 3 weeks of just mental health training and
Yeah.
like what it was all about. So I had 3 weeks of that. Then I had like at least a month or more of just somebody, shadowing somebody. And
Yeah.
then like 2 weeks of somebody sitting behind me while I was going through like the phone calls
Yeah.
and all of
And,
that.
and yet that when you managed multiple offices at the same time and you were promoted to training. So if anybody was an expert or at least had something to share, you would probably be in that group. Like you have things to share and your clients were happy with you. Like they wanted you to stay. And when you moved on, they were it wasn't like, oh, she's gone. Good. We can get it somebody better. It was like,
They
oh
were
no,
they're like, "Oh, no, you're leaving? We're
oh,
happy for you, but no, we don't want you to go."
what are we
Yeah.
going to do? So I wonder how, I wonder how, uh, prevalent that is where people don't consider themselves an expert, even when they are in their own realm.
What do you mean? Like,
Well, you don't see yourself as an expert. You don't see yourself as somebody that has something to give, but you actually do have some expertise that could help somebody just starting out as a virtual assistant on how to onboard, how to email, how to run their schedule, how to work from home, how to deal with customer complaints, how to do some billing, how to meet with your clients, how to manage client expectations. All of those things are skills that you have something to teach people on, but because you don't see yourself as an expert, you're not like looking for ways to use that in the greater world.
I guess. I mean, I use it in a small capacity. Maybe I'm just not looking for it in a huge, large capacity, like in that way.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of where I'm at with it.
So why, Lorinda, why you don't have an online course is when you don't see yourself. What is another reason why you think you don't have an online course for helping people become virtual assistants?
I just don't know how to do it, maybe, or the technology, like I know a little bit about technology, but just sitting and learning new programs, organizing the information in a way that's teachable, presentable, like it takes a lot of time. And sometimes time is a barrier for me too. Like even just creating, like redoing the training that's already there. I have the content, but it's like putting it in, and putting it in a way that I can present it, that people will understand it, that makes sense, that is user friendly, like all of that stuff. Sometimes it gets jumbled in my head and trying to figure it all out.
So one is technology and how to like put it out to the world. And
Right.
two is organization. If you did know how to do it, how would you organize it?
Well, yeah, well, just like time. Like I know how to organize it, but it's just like how much information is too much information and how much is not enough. Like it's just finding that right balance that's hard sometimes.
Yeah, from when I've read about the time and like how much you need, like people are looking for shortcuts. So the shorter the better. Like if they can get the transformation, the shorter the better.
Yeah, and I think that's like we're and interactive. Like you don't want to just be like lecturing either. You want it to be interacting, interesting, like engaging. I guess engaging is a better word. Like you want them to be engaged in the lesson, because if they're
Yeah.
not engaged and applying what you're actually teaching them, then it's just going to go in one ear and out the other, and it'll be hard for them to retain that information.
It's got to be practical.
Yeah. I think that's where I struggle, like coming up with those practical points. Although I will say, like, my coworker has been getting me more and more into Chat GPT, and like using that. And like AI is helping, because they could take like a sentence or like an idea and put it in a format, and then I just edit it really quickly. So that's a time saver, but it also gives me like a little bit more knowledge, and it saves that researching time as
Yeah.
well. I mean, it's always good to verify, like use the human side and verify, because sometimes it's not always correct. But
Right.
but a majority of like the thought process is at least there, and it's quicker to edit it and make it your own.
Yeah. You're the expert. Tell it your expert ideas. Then it organizes it
Right.
to something. That's what I do. Well, that's what I've been doing for some of my podcasts is I have my topic. I'll talk, like I can record my voice. So I'll talk into ChatGPT
Right.
for 10 or 15 minutes. And then I'll say, okay, make me an outline that I can redo. And that will spit out things and give me my main points that were my main points. And then I'll just retalk it, re-record it. And then out comes a fairly coherent outline with some good points that are in my words. It's not a computer doing it. It's restating my own things where I had an assistant, the
Right.
AI helped me organize my own thoughts. And I think you get better content that way.
I kind of like that idea better rather than like typing in the idea, because then it spits it out more of like just a computer, but like speaking and putting it in your own voice and tone gives the correct, you know, I
Yeah.
think that might be easier
Yeah.
than what we're doing.
Windows, I don't know about a Mac, but I know Windows, I think it's window button H gives you the voice recorder. And so I just record myself either in a Word document or right into ChatGPT sometimes. It transcribes what I say, and then I go from there. It's really cool. I've gone a little bit of tangent. I've been doing that with also some of the worksheets I've created. I'll say, this is the type of worksheet I want. This is what I want it to do. This is where I got it from. This is some of the content. Can you help me design a worksheet around this?
Right.
And it will, and it'll give me some ideas. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it needs work, but it's way quicker than just like, well, what do I want to do? What are some of my questions?
Right.
It-
Well, and I think from that, when it gives you those thoughts, then it creates more thoughts on you. You're like, or more ideas, like,
Yeah.
and you can kind of be creative. It's like a quick, I don't know. I kind of look at it as like a quicker way of brainstorming
Yes.
sometimes.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I won't even use the Chat GPT stuff. I'll just take like, oh, I like this idea, and then I'll go from there and make it my
Yeah.
own. But sometimes I can't come up with those ideas, and it's nice to know that that's there to help. Help with that process.
So what about the technology do you have questions about? I could guess, but what are some of the,
Well,
like,
it's like where to upload it, how to upload your videos, or what, you know, like putting it all together, editing it. Like I really like Canva, and Canva's come out with some really new, like
yeah,
just
they
came
had
out
that
some,
refresh last
yeah,
week.
like great. Like you can record yourself right in Canva, which is nice, or do like voiceover things, which is really nice too, which is like Chat GPT. But anyways, I think it's just knowing what platforms to post it on, or like how I would even get it out there, or how you make it accessible to people and put it in a course form, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, we live in, well, right now it's 2024, and there are so many tools out there that are fairly cheap and easy to use. The one I use is Kajabi. They have, it's a pretty easy way to make, to upload your courses. They host, so Kajabi will host unlimited videos. I'm fairly sure it's unlimited videos. I've hosted all my podcasts there and all my courses, and uh, I don't worry about, am I running out of time? I know the other place I was thinking about hosting videos was Squarespace. I have a
Okay.
Squarespace site, and you can do courses on Squarespace, but there is a limit. You have to buy the time, I believe.
Well, see, that's what I'm finding. Like with a lot of the technology, you are limited to the amount of space that you
Yeah.
have, or like, especially like with Canva, like with the voiceovers, you have to buy credits,
Yeah.
which isn't bad. But it's like you have to keep buying them if you're using it a lot. So it'd be nice to have, like, to know, like, to have an unlimited amount of like recordings, or an
Yeah. Where you
unlimited
could
amount of
store 'em.
storage, you know, stuff like that would be nice.
And there is on Kajabi projects that you can record your video in it or upload your video to it, and it creates highlights out of your project. And so let's say you recorded for an hour, but you really only needed 45 minutes. You can select with text the highlights, and it will delete the other stuff, or just put it off to the side. And the same also in the projects, there's like 20 or 30 other things you can do with it with your recording, such as social posts, blog posts, different types of blog posts, outlines. It's a wealth of resources. Now you get one free project a month, and then you can buy, let's say you have a podcast or an online course that you update frequently. You can buy a block of them, a
Okay.
monthly block. And so you could create your course with a block for a month, record, and then do your updates, your podcast once a month, and then create all these other projects for free. It's they it's so much. There's so much out there. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah, well, it's always changing too, and I think another thing too, like I was wondering about is not so just with technology, but like out there, there's a lot of like everybody wants in that virtual world, like or whatever. So how do you make yourself, you
How do you set
know,
yourself apart?
what's the word I'm looking for?
Distinguished.
Distinguished or just stand out? Like
Yeah.
how do you stand out amongst everyone else who's doing like similar topics or similar types of platforms?
Yeah, that's a really good question. One of the reasons. So I came from the virtual assistant world. I ran a company for 3 years, and one of the reasons I didn't go in like keep doing it is one, I'm not a virtual assistant. I was part of the manager, and two, just what you said. There's all these other ones. What could I have that would be different or better? And I think for you, if you came to me as a consultant and you asked me, you're really good at understanding customer needs, and even if there's problems, you work things out. I think there, from what I can tell, there was one person who stopped working with you, but it was more on them. It was they weren't, they realized the company wasn't the right fit, but everybody else, you had a long-term relationship with, right?
Yeah, I would say that's correct.
So your professionalism and your ability to keep long-term clients is something that's probably in your wheelhouse. So if you were going to market yourself, you would try to highlight on the things that are easy for you that other people might seem are difficult or confusing to do, and making sure the clients are taken care of and happy and they stay with you for a long term is super beneficial to anybody who wants to be a virtual assistant, don't you think?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, or even work for a virtual assistant company. You kind of have to, yeah, be personable, but be flexible, like just have an understanding of perspectives and not like get in your own way.
Yeah.
The virtual assistants that haven't succeeded with their company have been the ones that are inflexible, unwilling to accept that things can change and that they have the power to kind of change them. So, and then they always took like their own perspective rather than like looking beyond their own perspective and see the other, like their client's perspective.
Well, you've told me working from home and managing your own time and not having somebody over your shoulder all the time is a big shift in mindset.
Well, yeah, it is. It's like when you work at, so it's sort of like guidelines, like how our culture's raised. We grew up in a culture that, you go to a job, you work 9 to 5, and then you're done, you come home. And it's sort of like that very structured, you have those boundaries. Within those boundaries, when you're at work, you work, and when you're at home, you're home. Well, if you want a work from home job to be a virtual assistant, our company, kind of has, and probably any company, if you want to work from home and have your own schedule, you have to have some sort of understanding of like, it's not going to be the same structure as going to a brick and mortar job. Like you can set boundaries for yourself, but then within those boundaries, you need to have some flexibility and be like, okay, I have to be available, but I'm going to fit my work into my life. I'm not going to fit my life into work, if that makes sense. And, you have to like be okay. Like the work's always going to be there. And if you have something with your kids that's going on and you have that work to do, you have to prioritize like, well, my kids are important. Yes. And work's important. So how can I meet the needs of my kids but also get my work done? It's sort of like, take care of your kids, that work will be there, and then you get that done within that time frame that you need to get it done in.
Yeah, but
Kind of work within them.
but it's you have a little more agency um
Yeah, like you're
to
in
make
control
control
of
of
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're in control of how how to prioritize your tasks, when to get them done, when to schedule things, like that you have control of.
Yeah, there's multiple balls you're juggling in the air, and all you have to worry about is don't drop the glass ones.
Yeah.
The other ones will bounce,
Yeah.
but don't drop the glass. And you get to decide how you're going to manage that. So, anyways, just circling back for you for distinguishing yourself, I would try to focus on attracting and keeping long-term clients with excellent service. That's your niche. Uh, and then you don't market to people who are very short-term project based. Those people, there's probably somebody out there who is like, I know how to get your next gig for your next meal, just and go with them. But if you want somebody who is very considerate and thinks about how all the pieces fit together, like, and how if you move one piece, another piece, so you got to kind of consider how everything fits together, and that would be somebody you could work with and coach up, bringing on their own clients. So, well, we gotta wrap up, but we did talk about several different reasons why Lorinda Marland doesn't have an online course. The first is like her identity and how she views herself. It doesn't even come to her mind sometimes, even though there's that. Even though she's an expert, she still struggles with, like, who am I and the imposter syndrome. She also struggled with technology, right? And like, how do you even do it?
Right.
You're an expert in your field, but maybe not an expert starting a Canva account or a Teachable account. So there's that. And then the third or fourth one was if you have an idea how you distinguish yourself. And my suggestion was finding what you're really good at and how you can offer a shortcut to people and focus on that and don't focus on the other stuff. What do you think about that?
I think that's helpful. But yeah, that's good. Good advice.
So how close are you to starting an online course, Miss Marling?
I don't know. You've given me a lot to think about.
I know a guy.
Yeah.
I know.
Could his name be James?
Yeah, it might be. Well, James is a very common name. But yeah, I do know a guy who does that type of stuff. But man, I just see you day in and day out doing the stuff, working for people, and it makes me think, could you spend $500 or $600 on a Kajabi course and put stuff online? Probably. But yeah, that's for another discussion. Well, thank you for your time, Lorinda.
Oh, well, thank you, James, for having me.
And this is James from Course Creation Studio and the Scaling Therapy Practice, reminding you to put your mission in motion. We'll see you next time. We made it home.
Yeah.
We're live too. We didn't die on the road.
Nope. Did you stop recording?
I did not, because I'm driving. All right, I can stop recording. Hopefully that recorded. That would be very bad if it didn't record.
Thank you again for joining us on today's episode of the Scaling Therapy Practice. I hope you found the discussion with Lorinda insightful and motivating, and maybe you saw a little bit of yourself as you learned why some of the reasons why people don't launch online courses. A lot of it boils down to, well, a lot of getting started boils down to fear and mindset and not believing that you had something to offer. But when you really look at it, you're probably an expert at what you're doing, and somebody out there is desperately looking for what you can offer. If you're looking for more support and resources, please join the Facebook group where you can connect with a community of like-minded individuals. Visit the Facebook page at Course Creation Studio, and you can get some content there, the landing page content, and then the pilot course sign up. And you can Sign up for that, Overcoming Self-Doubt to Transform Your Mindset and Realize Your Dreams. It's to help you become have the mindset of a course creator and somebody who believes that they have something to offer the world. And that's something I want to provide for you because it's something I feel like maybe I didn't get in the beginning, that people to believe in me. And one of my fears is that there's a dream out there. There's somebody who has an amazing idea that can help a lot of people, but they don't feel encouraged or supported. And so instead of trying, they're just going to let that dream die and wonder, what if I launched it? What if I started 5 years ago, 10 years ago? What if I started today? I just don't want those good dreams to die. So if that sounded something like you, just join the group and lurk in the shadows until you find something that interests you, and get engaged with that. Ask me a question or post your comments on there. I'd love to hear from you. Remember, the views expressed on the Scaling Therapy Practice are that of the hosts and guests. It's for information and educational purposes only. Everybody's situation's different, so if you're looking to make some changes, please consult a lawyer or an accountant. Scaling Therapy Practice is a proud part of the SciCraft Network.